Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. We are on our first day of level 2, which is so exciting, which means that a lot of shops are going to be open. We're able to go outside and enjoy the sun, enjoy the walks without having to limit our outside activities. One thing that is restricted is the traveling, obviously, and also just driving out of your region. But nonetheless, it's still such a nice feeling that you're able to catch up with friends, you're able to catch up with families that you have not seen during the lockdown, which is so exciting. And I was actually planning to go thrifting today, but I figured since it's the first day that the lockdown has been lifted, I kind of just wanted to wait. For today's video, I wanted to just play with makeup, put on some eyeshadow, and I purchased the latest eyeshadow palette from LA Girl. Now this is the Girl Pro Artistry. I do know that they have another one which is more of the mauvey, rosy kind of romantic tones. I forgot what it was called, but I opted for this one because look at the colors. It looks pretty decent. And I also saw Nikia Joy tested this eyeshadow palette out, so I figured I might do that. I've already had my full face of base on because I went to the grocery store earlier. I did not bother putting eyeshadow because usually when I go out and about, I'm pretty much happy with how my face looks. I kind of just keep my eyes bare. So this is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. I'm so sorry if you could see like a glue sticky residue on the side. Literally it's pretty stuck on, so I have to like manually pull it. But here are the colors. At first glance, I thought the names of the shades are going to be on the actual pan, but it's not. It came off with a plastic sleeve, but good thing is that you have them written down on the back. So I am going to start and swatch a few of these shimmer shades. So we're going to swatch like the top 3 shimmer shades in here. So these are the top 3 shades. Wow, this shade right here called Impressive is looking a little bit chalky and patchy, but the other two looks pretty decent. And look at that metallic bronzy shade. So I'm going to swatch the colors in here. All 4 of these are shimmers. So let's start with the green. I have been really into green eyeshadows lately. I'm not sure what had happened, but I'm obsessed. So here are the colorful shadows. I think part of the reason why I purchased this eyeshadow palette is because of the different variations of blues and greens. And what I love about this eyeshadow palette is that you have a mixture of neutral, a little bit of colors and warmth, and also a lot of shimmers to choose from. So if you're a beginner in makeup, you could definitely purchase just this palette and play with the colors, because you get the black, you get transitions, and also you get some shades that you can deepen it up or apply it on its own. But here are the swatches of the colorful shadows. Oh my god, that blue right there screams. And I think I'm going to use that blue because in the past few videos I've been using a lot of greens. So now I am going to try and swatch the matte, see how it goes. But sometimes, you know, swatches don't really tell you a whole lot because it could translate differently as soon as you dip the brush into the shade. So I'm going to swatch this really nice warm brown. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. It is a little bit chalky, I'm not gonna lie, but the pigment is there. So here are the mattes. So we have the black, the brown, and the warm transition. And I'm actually gonna swatch this shade right here. I'm not gonna bother swatching the lighter shade because it's not gonna show up on my skin. So here you have it, the mattes. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to pop that on my hand. Oh, the black is not the blackest. It's a little bit sheer, but I guess it's a good thing because you could easily build it up. But that warm transition shade though, that one right there, is kind of pigmented. You have that warm as well. The black is right here, and then you have that peachy shade. It's not the most opaque, but we'll see how that translates into the lids. I am kind of thinking of using the blue shade, which is the darker one, paired with this warm tone brown. So the blue, which is that one right there, comes off like as a royal blue shade. So, and it also comes with a huge mirror. This eyeshadow palette is a little bit weighty, and the price is $25 New Zealand. I purchased mine from Beauty Bliss. I think makeup.co.nz stocks this eyeshadow palette as well. I'm just gonna have to check and link all the palettes. If you live outside New Zealand and Australia, I'm pretty sure your drugstore, pharmacies, or drugstore stores sells LA Girl, so just check out your local stores. So I zoom you guys a little bit closer so we can see how everything is going to work. So I've already somewhat primed and set my eyes with the concealer and a translucent powder. So I'm going to start out with maybe this peachy shade right here, and that one is called Savvy. And I'm going to, oh, she's a little bit powdery but pigmented, so I'm going to do a circular motion to really get in there. One thing I learned recently is that if you want the shadows to really show up, do a tiny circular motion movement as opposed to like doing like a windshield wiper motion. This technique only works when you're trying to buff out the areas where you had a lot of mistakes, or if you really want to blend. But in terms of like packing and blending, it's better to do like a tiny circular motion. I know that's like a true makeup artist technique, but I didn't really realize that until recently. So far it's blending out pretty good. So now I'm going to try and wing that out. So that's when I would use the windshield wiper motion technique, because you're trying to wing it out. And with a smaller blending brush, I am going to then pick up this shade, which is called Champion. It's a nice true orange shade, and it's very pigmented but powdery at the same time. Look how powdery that eyeshadow is. If you're bothered by that, then probably skip this eyeshadow palette, but personally for me it's working out okay. And I love a good drugstore eyeshadow palette that works great. I am going to go and use this darker brown right here with the same brush just to kind of deepen this a little bit, because I really want to cut the crease. So far the mattes are blending okay. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's just that if you use more of a real haired brush, then you get a lot of kickback and fallout. But if you use a synthetic brush, then it's fine. And then I'm gonna go back to Champion, which is that warm orange shade, and really buffing that into the crease, because I really want that shade to show when we do cut the crease. And for the lower lash line, I'm not going to do too much. I might just go in with this shade right here, which is Savvy. And that's more of a peachy tone shade. And maybe I'll put a little bit of Champion in there as well. So I'm going to go back to the brush that we used before. And a little bit of that dark brown. So I really want the eyeshadow to show, so I'm going to try and cut the crease, just the inner thirds of the lid. I'm not gonna go like all the way because I don't know if that's gonna look cute, because I want the brown to show. So I'm going to just follow my natural crease, and I'm just gonna focus that on the inner part. And then I'm going to apply this blue shade right here called Cheese. So now I'm gonna go back to the brush that we used, dust off a little bit of that orange shade, and pop this darker brown and try to blend that into the blue. And I think I'm gonna mix a little bit of the black as well, just to deepen the look up. But that black shade complements the blue that we have, so it adds like a nice blend. She's a little bit patchy, as you can see here, and on this side right here, but I'm going to go back to that brown shade. Yeah, it's a little bit patchy on this side right here, so I think I'm just gonna have to pull the blue a little bit further back instead of stopping it like halfway, because it doesn't look cute. I'm going to dip this brush into the blue and kind of just use that to blend. And that black has a little bit of fallout as well, so just be careful. Then I'm going to dust off the same brush, because I really like this brush for the blend. I'm going to go to that orange shade to try and buff a little bit of warmth back, and also buff out that mistake, because that black shade kind of dispersed everywhere, and I hate when that happens. So I'm gonna try to correct that. Go back to that blue just to intensify mostly the inner bit of the eye. And then for the inner part, I am going to try and pick up this lighter blue shade, and that one is called Graceful. With the same brush, I am going to pop that more so on the inner part of my lid, just to have that dimension and a little bit of brightness into the eye, because right now we are looking a little bit dull. And pop a little bit of that on here. We're not gonna go all the way, just in the beginning, so you have that nice peak of color. And then slightly blend it a little bit. And for the inner corner highlight, I am going to pop this silver shade right here. I'm going to use the same brush actually. It's like a pressed glitter shade. Ooh, that's looking pretty. Gonna quickly apply some mascara. I'm gonna load up on mascara, apply my lips, fix this look, and I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on the eyeshadow palette. I added a little bit of lashes just to put a little bit more drama into the look, but here is my final makeup look. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. My thoughts on this eyeshadow palette: it's a pretty decent eyeshadow palette. It's not expensive. In fact, this is the same price as the e.l.f. Opposites Attract eyeshadow palette. This is just cents cheaper. I love the fact that the packaging is pretty weighty, so it does not look cheap at all. It came with a plastic seal, which is glued to the side. That's the only complaint that I have. When you pull it out, it kind of leaves that glue pretty stuck on the side, but I mean a little bit of acetone or rubbing alcohol can get rid of that. The names of the shadows aren't on the pan, which is not really a worry for me, because usually when I do makeup looks, I typically just point into the shade. I don't even like try to read the shades, only sometimes. But it's good that you can have like a cheat on the back where the names are written down. I also love the color story of this eyeshadow palette because on top right here you can get the everyday neutrals, and then at the bottom you can go ham and, like, you know, add a little bit of glam into the looks. This is not a very intimidating eyeshadow palette. The only complaint that I would have to give is that the mattes are a little bit powdery. The only one that really blends beautifully are these three right here. This orange one blends great, but if you keep fluffing it onto the eyes, it kind of disperses into the area and creates a mess. So if you're not careful, then that's gonna be your problem. I feel like the formula is somewhat the same as the L'Oreal Very Much Love palette that I reviewed way back, where because it's so powdery and chalky that it kind of just disperses everywhere, but then I managed to pull it off by just carefully packing the shadows and then blending it so it doesn't go everywhere. The black has got a lot of fallout on your face. It can get pretty stuck on, so I suggest if you're going to create a super duper glam look, do your eyeshadows first and then do your base. But overall, my rating would have to be 4 out of 5. It's such a great affordable eyeshadow palette. If you're a beginner, this is a good one to have. If you're a pro and you're looking for an affordable eyeshadow palette, this is worth a try. I am going to create another makeup look using this eyeshadow palette, preferably a more neutral on-the-go makeup look. Subscribe to my channel for more updates. Let me know your thoughts about the eyeshadow palette if you've tried it, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye!